been praised to argue falsely that oppose immigration enforcement. Always a great
4,330 votes. It was up around 8,000, 9,000 a little more than an hour ago. So the race is getting tighter. 37% reporting. But again, the Democrat is ahead in a district the Democrat hasn't represented since the Reagan presidency. So just the fact that the Democrats are in play, just the fact that this race is in play tonight, tells you that Republicans are in trouble this year. The question is it a bad year or is it a horrible year? That's what we're going to learn here in Ohio 12. This is the district as a whole. Let's look at it by county. You made a key point about the suburbs. For Danny O'Connor to win this district, Trump has to remain toxic in the suburbs, like we saw in the Alabama Senate race, like we saw in New Jersey and Virginia, like we saw in Pennsylvania 18. Trump has been toxic among suburban women, among millennials as well. You find a lot of them in the suburbs. They're down here in Franklin County, where Danny O'Connor at the moment, in the piece of Franklin County that is in this district, Danny O'Connor has 70% of the vote right now to 28%. If that number holds up, and if this county gives you 33, 34, 35% of the vote in this district tonight, Danny O'Connor's in play. Danny O'Connor could well have a stunning upset here, but only 37% reporting, so let's keep an eye on it. Let's not jump to conclusions. But this is the key part. You mentioned the suburbs. Let me just show you here. It's where the people live. The darker shading is where the higher population centers are in this district. The Republicans are expected to run it up big here. It's important. You need those votes. But there's not a lot of people in these rural counties. The people live down here in the suburbs. You move out to the exurbs, then it gets more rural. This is where you have your more college-educated, affluent Republican voters. Key to John Kasich, the Republican governor of Ohio. Key to the Republican electoral coalition back in the Reagan and the George H.W. Bush days. Key to George W. Bush, a problem for the Republican Party right now. Democrats sprung strong in the cities. They're starting to run even stronger in the suburbs. That's what the Democrats are hoping for tonight, Chris. We can go through this race in more detail. At the moment, though, if you're Danny O'Connor, you like that in Franklin County. You love this in Delaware County as you start to move out. Should be starting to turn red. Simple. Go anywhere in America. Cities are blue. As you move away, it should start to turn red. If this stays blue, Danny O'Connor's in good shape, but remember, only 5% in Delaware County, so let's hold tight. You move into the more rural areas, the Republican areas, and you start to see Troy Balderson doing what a Republican should do here. The question is, let's keep counting the votes down here.
So, two observations and a question. The first one is, we remember from the Clinton-Trump race that the way Ohio goes early is not the way it necessarily finishes. She was up double digits. She wound up losing, I think, by 8 in that state. Secondly, really late endorsement by the Republican governor and popular one in Ohio, John Kasich, for Balderson. We're not really sure if that was just about Trump, Kasich intrigue, or how he feels about Balderson's position as the state senator there. The question to you is this. There's this big question with the Democrats about where their future is, whether or not they have to embrace that they are now the party not of the traditional working class but of big cities, new immigrants, younger populations. Do they embrace that and see the suburbs as a battleground, or do you think they continue to try to fight back for those working families that are all in those red areas?
You can go to different parts of the country, and you have interviewed on your program. You know, and you have different Democrats who will give you different answers. In some degrees, it depends on what state you're in. In a state as big, let me switch small here. In a state as big and complex as Ohio, this is the current House Republican House delegation, 12 Republicans and 4 Democrats. If you want to win this, if you want to win a House district, well, you got to have working class voters here. Down here in Columbus, if you want to win the city, which they do, then you're more of the progressive liberal party, if you will, in the city.
Shoots for the leg.
It's a lot more complicated. One of the other key 2018 big questions, some would argue an even bigger question in the House of Representatives, is can Democrats have a long-term trajectory back to competitiveness by winning some of these governor's races? To do that, you've got to win everything. That's what's complicated. Republicans have had great success at the governor's level during the Obama years. Democrats hope 2018 is a building block on the way back.
Excellent movement and transitions here on the ground. Staying busy. Good shot to the body. Beautiful reversal.
We're going to see that play out, and you see it in these races where you have, let's say, the Michigan Democratic primary tonight for governor. A progressive Medicare for all candidate who is the first Muslim governor in America, running against a more centrist Democratic establishment candidate. Tension in that party as well. We focus more on the Republican tensions because of the president's high profile. The Democrats have their own tug of war as well.
What are you watching most right now before we leave you? I'll come back to you later in the show when we get to the next wave. What are you looking at most closely in Ohio?
I'm looking at the margins down here. I'm looking to see whether or not turnout is way down from 2016. 2016 is a presidential year. This is a special election in August. So turnout is way, way down. Who showed up on election day? Most times, Republicans tell you the early votes will come up for the Democrats, and then the Republicans tend to be more traditionalist. We vote on election days. That's true most of the time. Is that what's happening tonight? Can Danny O'Connor hold this lead in Franklin County, and are these big percentages out in the rural areas to Troy Baltimore? You see the big percentages, especially here, a little more so over here. The percentages are great. Is the math enough? Are enough rural Republicans coming out to vote tonight to offset, at least what early on, is the big Danny O'Connor advantage? Down here, near Columbus, as you noted, in the suburbs, where the people are.
All right, well, let's do it this way. As you see the numbers changing in an impressive way, get my ear. I'll come right back to you. John Kay, thank you very much. Right now, let's bring in CNN chief political correspondent Dana Bash and chief political analyst Gloria Porter. So we got both of you. It's great to get both of your minds on the idea of the distinction between politics and policy. Dana, you know, this is starting with you here. By historical measure, Ohio should not be a race. You can't find a metric that is positive for the Democrats going into this, and yet you got Danny O'Connor is in a very competitive race. What do we learn from a policy perspective about what buttons he's pushing?
It's an important question because I've been talking to Republicans and Democrats all day about these races, particularly Ohio, and there's one thing that they agree on, and that is something really simple, Chris, and that's candidates matter. It's easy to forget that when you're in these what looks like a potential
big win by way of the knockout. Certainly kept the judges out of it here tonight. Perhaps some bonus money is coming his way, but there will be no wiping the smile off of his face.
In a district like this, to your point, where a Democrat hasn't won in almost 40 years, waves aren't enough. And so in this particular case, what Danny O'Connor has done is focus on basic bread and butter issues, on health care, on Social Security, on Medicare, drilling down on those, attacking the parts of the Republican tax plan that he believes really appeals to independents and maybe even some Trump voters who he can get. He also is very much aggressively distancing himself from all things Washington, including his own party leader, Nancy Pelosi. On the flip side, Troy Balderson, in any other environment, would be a perfectly fine Republican candidate in this district, which is, Democrats didn't even bother for the past, 3 decades. And in this case, Republicans say he's okay, but he was slow at getting up and running on the air and getting to the point where he understood that this is a real race. Now, this could be a Republican win in the end, but just the fact that we're having this discussion about this race really is a reminder that the focus is where it should be, as far as Democrats are concerned, on these bread and butter policy issues, which could bring some of those rural voters that you were talking about back into the fold for Democrats in November.
That's a question. I really believe that Trump didn't make the movement made Trump. And you have disaffected people who are looking for anti-politicians, not a savior, but a virus, to inject into the system, attack the elites, attack all the systems they didn't like, and they found it in Trump. That one hurt.
And we've seen action as expected so far.
Push 2 from the mid-90s.
Reimagining it right there. Very nice.
You start a project.
Gotta be careful here. He's really in trouble.
Leave it there, go back to your desk, and then create something out of your collective memory. Tell you what it was that stuck in your mind, and you take that somewhere new.
Enhance those old ideas.
You still have the essence of where you start.
Easily dodges
You
the
end
kick.
up with something completely unique.
And Joey continues to leave that head open. His opponent.
He's in big trouble.
I don't know what the Democrat play is there now. So let's shift over to you, Gloria. I love being able to pose a question that gets answered in real time on the show. What's going on with Governor John Kasich? He's popular. He's a big GOPer. They're obviously. He was slow on Balderson.
Another kick lands.
Really slow. Well, first of all, let's talk about his popularity. He's got a 52% popularity, but he's more popular with Democrats in the state than he is with Republicans right now. So, number one. With Balderson, he took one. For a couple of reasons. One is he disagrees with him because John Kasich, as you know from the presidential campaign, really believes governors should take that Medicaid money. In Ohio, Balderson said, no, you should not. Also, it is no secret that John Kasich does not like Donald Trump at all. So this was kind of dicey for him. But in the end, he ended up endorsing the Republicans. What kind of difference it's going to make at this point, we really have no idea. And he has been out there for him. But I think the question is, in the areas where John Kasich is popular, Delaware County, suburban women, will he be able to convince those people who do not like Donald Trump that because he endorsed them, they ought to vote for him? And will he be able to convince those independent voters that they ought to vote for Balderson? And those are the folks that like Kasich. A little complicated.
It is, especially because just because he endorsed him doesn't mean he's out there burning calories for him. I understand that there's a big difference between an endorsement and a commitment. So we'll see how it plays out. Dana, Gloria, thank you very much. If you're anything that we need to get to the audience, let me know. I'll come right back. All right, so let's dig into what this means. Tonight with CNN, Chris Sillers, good to have you. So Tom Perez said to me once, I heard you saying, Cuomo, everybody likes a tax cut. Because you know who doesn't like a tax cut?
And a big TKO victory for that young man here tonight.
Let's take a look at it from a different angle.
Bruce Buffer has the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Dan Mergliata has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 42
Ohio
seconds.
12th District race has become a proxy for the state of play between Democrats
Well, if
and
that effort doesn't produce some bonus money, I don't know what to tell you. A huge TKO victory for this fighter here tonight. Kept the judges out of it. Really, I think exceeded people's expectations in a
is
lot
at
of respects.
Republican Troy Balderson's headquarters in Newark, Ohio. Rebecca Burr is at Democrat Danny O'Connor in Westerville. But two very different stories. I'll get to Berg in 1 second. Jason, what are you hearing from Balderson? What are they telling right now?
Well, first of all, just hearing some cheers here in the room as some of the results just came in. But look, they are feeling very optimistic at this point. They realize it could be tight. The race could be tight. It could be a late night. They're feeling especially good about the president, Chris, coming in this week. And they feel as though he's going to give Balderson that extra bit of a push that he may need. They know that there's a lot of momentum coming in from Democrats, but the question is, can the president create enough enthusiasm to match the enthusiasm coming in from Democrats? The campaign feels as though that will be the case. Chris?
All right, Jason, thank you very much. Now, the spin there is, hey, we knew this could be close. Really? Trump won it. Romney won it. Clinton was up early. She got beat significantly, 8 points in that, and they've held this seat for 30 years, Rebecca Burr. So now O'Connor is close, but let's put the numbers up for people. We just had, another Ohio moment, which is he was up, but the lead is now all but gone. This race is neck and there's still a lot of votes to be tabulated. If you look at the different plays, 66% in, now Balderson is ahead. Just like that, as you jump from county and county, and John King is standing by, he's looking at the county-by-county mix in this because it's a big part of the state, the 12th district. You're going to see moves as they move from demographic to demographic. And the all-important battleground will be the suburbs. Now, Rebecca Burr, O'Connor's people are not going to like what they just saw happen on the big screen. What's their mood?
No, well, they're certainly not going to be surprised, Chris, by these jumps in the polls, and they are expecting tonight a very close race. As you mentioned, this is a Republican district. A Republican has represented this district in Congress since 1940 for all but 2 years. So this is solid Republican turf, and Danny O'Connor has certainly overperformed. Democrats have overperformed, but overperforming is not going to be enough for them. They want to win this race. They want to send a message for Democrats here in Ohio and also national Democrats going into the fall. And so we do expect, of course, a close race, but they are definitely hoping for a win here tonight. They've been working at the vote hard. They knocked on doors twice for every target voter. So this has been an aggressive campaign, and they're not looking for second place here tonight, even if they
What's
do
up, Dish Dude?
exceed expectations.
Is that Journey that they have blasting behind you there, Rebecca Berg? Are you too young to pick up on that song? The lyrics are...
Don't stop believing, Chris.
Don't stop believing, but you know, they better hold on to it right now. Yeah, those lyrics are going to play one of two ways in this race tonight. All right, thank you very much. Jason, Rebecca, as you hear things in the campaign, we need to tell the audience to come back to. So why are we saying that Ohio is such a bellwether for tonight? Because you have all this history on the GOP side, but you have this very tight race. So what does that contradiction tell us? Well, I'll tell you what the main play is.
Well, a lot of people think it's the most significant.
I know people think that most of the votes come from urban areas, big cities, but that's not true. 49% of the votes in the last election came from suburbs. And you know who won them?
Yeah, a long time, man. I've been all right. I've been busy for the past couple of months.
Can they start moving in that direction? All of those factors are what makes it a bellwether and an awesome topic for a great debate. As the results come in, these two gentlemen will argue over what it means. Next.
Beautiful right leg kick there.
All right, now, up on the screen, you're going to see over the course of the night what the state of play is. The Democrats need 23 seats to flip the House. One of the reasons we're watching Ohio tonight is if Danny O'Connor pulls off an upset, and it would be a major upset in that 12th district race, it goes down to 22. Still a lot of wood to chop for the Democrats. But if they don't win this one, it's equal to the guru, because since I last spoke to you, this race has flip-flopped twice.
But in the course of this conversation, it could again, when you went to break, the Republican was ahead. You come out of break, the Democrat is ahead by 1,000 votes, 1,018 votes. Danny O'Connor leading 50% to 49.4%, 75% of the votes. Is that enough for Troy Baldwin? Probably not.
Big look is Toby. He loves shopping at Chewy.com because with Chewy, he gets low prices on his food, toys, and treats. Unbox the savings today. Save 20% on your first order. Shop online at Chewy.com.
Minutes to go in round one. Oh, and he tags him with the straight. Nice job there by Slice.
If the numbers stay here, but this is the key county. Only 24% of the vote in here. Watch Delaware County to see if Baldwin can stretch that out a little bit. Again, 88% in Franklin, only 24% in Delaware. Suburbs, Texas, closer in.
Oh, fuck.
Republicans. That's where Danny O'Connor needs to run strongest. Here's the problem for Troy Baldwin. It doesn't mean it's definitive, but rural county, 100% in. Yes, he's winning big percentages. I don't know if that math is enough. The turnout is that high enough out there. Come over here, 100% in. Again, winning with 70%, you think, wow, that's great. The question is the math. Is the turnout up here? And the
oh, shit.
More votes down here. 90% recording now in Richland County. Again, a good margin for the Republicans. Maybe not big enough. Turnout not necessarily great. So here's the point I'm trying to make. They're all counted. They're all counted. Some left here. They're all counted here. They're all counted here except for 2%. So in the places where we know Troy Baldwin can win and run up a lead, most, if not all votes are accounted for. You start coming down here. Delaware County is going to be key. There's always one. This is the late county.
What's the return percentage in the biggest county?
I'm sorry again?
Working on my clubhouse.
In the biggest county right now, we're in 80%. So 88 more votes to get here. The question is, what's out, right? Is it a more Democratic? Is it a closer in, more Democratic precinct? Is it further out? I don't have that information with me at the moment. The O'Connor campaign believes if they can keep this,
just been doing other stuff,
and the rest of the district runs normal, they can win. That's their guess. We'll see what happens. But again, there's always one county, you know this, you've been at this a long time. Now, there's always one county that lags behind the others. It happens to be Delaware County right now. I just want to give you a little quick history. Again, turnout's going to be nowhere close to 2016. That was a presidential year. It was a special election, midterm year in office of all things. But the Republican with 51% there. The last time Seabury, the Republican coming and stepped down, won 72% in the presidential year in Delaware County. So the question is that good enough? Right. Is that good enough for Troy Baldwin if we count the rest of these votes? If nothing else, let's come back to the CD just to look at it again now.
Oh, fuck me. I can't believe I just did that.
76% in the district. We have some more counting to do.
It's so close.
To your point, just that is close.
so good.
All right, nice one.
Right.
Question is it bad news or is it about fantasy terrorism?
I'll tell you what we know for sure. Bad news for you, because this is going to be another night where you're going to have to be around because it's going to be so close up to the end. But you're the best at it. John, thank you very much.
Why they blew a structure.
All right, let's have a great debate. Dan Jones, David Irvin. We don't know the outcome, so you know what? We don't have to take a lot of time on this. There's one proposition. Who has the better message? This isn't about O'Connor and Balderson. All due respect to both their campaigns, they both made some good plays in this race. We've been doing our research. But Dan Jones, do the Democrats have the better case in these districts?
Well, I mean, first of all, it does matter that we are right now watching a race where the Republican is running on flat ground and the Republican is running uphill in the rain with short legs, and they are neck and neck. We should not be within 1 point of anybody in a district that red. Something is happening out there. We forced Republicans to spend $5 million in the middle of the summer. They had to fire Donald Trump, all his weaponry, and we're still neck and neck at this time of night. Something is happening out there, and I think it has to do with the message on both sides. Donald Trump is causing himself problems. He's stepping on his economic message with all this nonsense that he does. And you've got somebody who's out there running for the Democrats saying, I'm going to protect the 700,000 people who've got that Medicaid expansion. I'm going to stick up for Social Security. And you've got a Republican who says, yeah, actually 700,000 people with Medicaid expansion, I don't care anything about it. Even Donald Trump didn't say that. So you've got a bad message from the Republican candidate. You've got a bad distraction from the president, and you've got a Democrat who's neck and neck when he's running uphill. It's something happening out there.
Dave, rebuttal.
Wow. That's so overly optimistic. Overly optimistic. Let me tell you, Chris. You say candidates don't matter. Earlier in the piece, Deanna say candidates do matter. I agree with her, not you in this case. Candidates do matter. This is like PA 18, which we watched and talked about with Connor Lamb versus Rick Saccone. You had a very tough primary. Look, I've been following this race for a long time. One of my very good friends, a guy named Tim Kaine, Air Force Academy grad, Stanford economist, very bright guy, ran in the primary there. So I've been dialed in and watching this for evolve over time. And I'm not sure that Balderson was the best, strongest candidate that emerged, but here you got it. This isn't really about the president. It's about the individual candidate. All these elections, especially special.
Coming up next, Open Doors is a new way to sell your home. You sell your home at Open Doors. You on your timeline. You just go on the website. You type.
Have you looked at the list of guys who have held that congressional seat? Ohio's been a GOP seat for over 2 years in the last 4 decades. They have not had like some Hall of Fame list of people holding.
Guess who won that district in the last presidential election? Not the Trump presidential election. Who won in 2012? If I went more let me tell you. No, he didn't. Obama won by 66%. I know. Obama won the district. So everybody says this is such a Republican district. How did Obama win in 2012 by the same margin that President Trump went? It defies logic.
Romney won this state, Bill, and they've held the district for
we're talking about 2 years and 4 decades. We're talking about this.
The Democrats weren't even putting somebody up for some of those years because it was such a prohibitive law.
Listen, how ruby red this is, and how it's impossible for Democrats to ever win. Well, a Democrat won it in 2012 pretty handily.
Not for the congressional seat.
Listen, okay, well, don't paint it as like it's this ruby red, dyed-in-the-wool Republican.
I don't know how red you have to be, sir. From 1935 to now, you've only lost.
I'm just saying, listen,
you're winning past the graveyard.
Yeah. So, I heard your earlier point about the suburbs. You know who doesn't believe the suburbs are important? The current flag bearer, standard bearer for the Democratic Party, is Ocasio-Cortez, who said that there is no upper middle
standard bearer for the Democratic Party. Nancy Pelosi is going to come and punch you in the nose, David.
Listen, if I were to take Nancy Pelosi around America or Ms. Ocasio-Cortez around, I bet you could guess who gets bigger crowds. Listen, so she's saying suburbs don't matter. Upper middle class doesn't exist. The Democratic Party's been focusing on those folks for too long. So that's the message here. That's the message.
Man, is that what Nancy Pelosi says? Is that what Ocasio-Cortez says?
I don't think that's what any of the
Donald Trump.
Let's get a last word.
What I know about both of them. Neither of them went to the district. Trump went to the district, and he's in a foot race right now. His candidate is in a foot race with somebody who nobody ever heard of 3 months ago. I'm going to tell you one thing. I don't give credit. Hold on, I want to give some credit. One issue we haven't talked about is that a bunch of voters who were purged in Ohio, so-called impeachment, a progressive group called Demos got out there and got a deal cut so that everybody could vote this time. That's the kind of stuff happening on the ground, fighting for voting rights, fighting for progressive values, that is making this race so close.
So we will see how it turns out. Let's take this straight first. You got Democrats like Conor Lamb and Danny O'Connor who are running against Nancy Pelosi and who are running against the Democratic Party. The Blue Dog Democrats who are running against the party. He went after the tax cuts. He went after Pelosi. He's not going to vote over that signature Democratic speaker. You sound nervous, Dave. You sound nervous.
You guys can only run talk about Pelosi. You keep guys saying, I love Nancy Pelosi. You keep talking about her, but you're not saying that.
Let's end the debate and let's go to the results because you'll have more fodder once we get the numbers. Let's go to break, but I want to show the numbers because they're moving in real time. That's how close it is. Look at the margin in this race. We have probably never seen one like this in Ohio, in this district, for Congress. Why is it happening? You heard the two gentlemen making their points. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to give you more insight and a new round of numbers. There are more returns coming in right now. Stay with CNN.
Second round here.
All right, let's put up the latest numbers. O'Connor back on top again. Look at this. This is why we have to keep checking it in real time, and nobody's going to tell you that this race is concluded and give you a final result. If they do, don't believe it, all right? Why does this matter? Again, it's a bellwether. The GOP has held this seat, this congressional district, for all but like 2 years in the last 4 decades, all right? Donald Trump did very well in the state, and word to the wise, early on, the returns there showed Hillary Clinton winning. Democrats get recorded earlier in Ohio for different reasons. When the whole state came in, Clinton lost it by 8 points. Obama did win this. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming in and saying, wait a minute, you told me different numbers. Let's be clear. Obama won this state. However, Romney won the district that's in play right now, and he won it handily, okay? That's why we're saying that this is a traditionally ruby red place, and that's why the suburbs here are such an important battleground, and that's why the fact that it's close is so interesting, but close gets you nothing in politics. So let's talk about...
Some say that in life there are no second chances.
All right, coming up next, a matchup to determine the baddest man on the planet.
Either way that it goes. Our next guest is PNC Chair Tom Perez. It's great to have you. Welcome back to Primetime. This is a big night. This is the best look at what the midterms could be that we've had to date. Ohio 12, you're close. I don't think you've ever heard anybody say that to you as a Democrat before. Why are you close?
Because we're organizing everywhere. We've got a great candidate. We've got a great message. He's fighting for health care. He's fighting to make sure that people with diabetes or like people like his mother who's a cancer survivor can get access to health care by protecting Medicaid. He's fighting to make sure that everybody's got a fair shot. He's fighting for prosperity for everyone. And his opponent is fighting the Trump agenda, that agenda that says that those tax cuts are okay. The agenda, his opponent said, I'd be willing to change the age for Social Security and Medicare retirement eligibility. We're fighting for these basic democratic issues that affect people's lives. And he's talking about Nancy Pelosi and things that aren't relevant. That's why we're winning this race. And Chris, there's been a remarkable...
just put up the numbers, Tom. Can you see them, just so you know? Right now, O'Connor's up by like 100 votes.
This feels like Conor Lamb. Yeah, this is the Conor Lamb race where we saw it seesaw. What I'm heartened by, as you pointed out before, is if he continues to be at 65% in Franklin County, that's going to do him well. And what his opponent's going to need to do in Delaware County is win probably 56 to 44, 57 to 43, and he's not doing it right now. A lot more to go there, but I'll tell you, one of the reasons Danny O'Connor is doing so great, in addition to focusing on that message, is that there has been remarkable unity. There were 7 people in the Democratic primary, and when Danny won, Everybody came together.
Well, that's an interesting point, Tom, because we've talked about this before, and we're going to talk about it a lot more during this election season. Which vein of thought is going to wind up owning the Democratic Party? Because it's one thing to want to get Medicaid for certain people, but Medicare for all is something different. Free health care for everybody, single payer is something different than going back to just what the ACA was in full. The party's going to have to make a choice, is it not?
Well, look at the choices are, I think, best reflected in the elections that are being run. And you look there in the 12th Congressional District of Ohio. And after Danny won, everybody came together. The Indivisible chapter there supported one of his opponents, and they have been all in for Danny. Clean Left, all in for Danny. The labor movement, the DCCC, the DNC, the Democratic Party there. Everybody coming together because they understand that people's health care is at stake. Medicare and Social Security are at stake. Our democracy is frankly at stake, and we're fighting for all of these. We saw this in Virginia last year, a spirited primary on the Democratic side. Everybody felt like their candidate got a fair shake. They came together, record turnout. We've been winning across this country, whether it's Connor Lamb's district, whether we'll see what happens tonight in Daniel Connor's district. It's remarkable. We're having this conversation.
Right. I mean, look.
And that's the bottom line. We're winning everywhere because we're fielding the candidates that reflect the values of the districts where they are won. That's key.
I understand the key of but eventually it's going to have to wind up galvanizing into a national message. It'll have to be counter and somehow positive more than anti-Trump to win on a big scale. We'll see how you get there. And as Van Jones, to borrow his metaphor, you're all fighting uphill. Since the beginning of June, the president has been on some run. He's backed 11 candidates in contest, and he's won all of them. So let's see what happens tonight and what it means going forward. Tom Perez, thank you for making the case from the side of the Democrats. Appreciate it on the show.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Chris.
All right, be well. So that's Tom Perez. You know why this matters for him. But again, Eden Post ain't a win. Let's take it back to these numbers. This is not the kind of thing that we've seen from this district in Ohio before. 155 votes. We'll be back right after this. Right now, you show people what you're seeing on the board. I'm tracking it because I'm trying to get some word from people on the ground there about what they think is going to happen in that last big population center. About 10% of the vote that they're waiting on. 155 votes separation.
That's amazing. And if you're the Democrats, you're thinking we already won tonight. Now, that doesn't mean you do want to win the district. That's what you want. But the fact that this is so close is amazing. Before I get to the numbers, I just want to make this point. The fact that Democrats are competitive in a district that is 88% white is why they can be optimistic going into November. This should be solid Republican country. But tonight it is not. Let's get into the county level and look at this. To your point.
What's up, Stacks? Good morning.
Hands up again here, but hurt. Oh, man, with that right leg kick. Whenever you see a fighter's legs stiffen up like that, that's not a good sign. Nice leg kick. And he switches his stance yet again. Well, whatever works, now he switches his stance again. With the overhand show. Oh, my goodness! Back to the feet again. Amazing.
Are we having a problem right now?
Oh, very nice.
Welcome to the future, whether you want to believe in them or not. You can be the man you always dreamed of being. You just need to have an open mind.
Brutal leg kick. That's it. The fight's over. He threw that powerful leg kick all night long, and finally his opponent could take no more. TKO victory via
See all
leg
this
kicks.
red. Danny O'Connor, the Democrat, is leading only in the Franklin County portion of this district. Everywhere else, the Republican is ahead. Here's the problem for Troy Balderson. 100% is in here. 100% is in here. 100% is in here. 100% is in here. And 100% is in here. Two counties now that we're going to watch this. We have 155 vote difference, and we're counting this out. Delaware County, only a little more than half of the vote in. Troy Balderson ahead, 52 to 47. Is that enough? His campaign wants that up. We're going to watch as the rest of the votes come in here. The second biggest part of the district. The biggest part, as you noted, we were talking about the suburbs all night, is where more people live. A third of the voters live down here in the slice of Franklin County.
94% in.
12th district.
So what kind of space does that leave? What is 6%?
if it comes, it's 6% of precincts. So if it keeps coming in like this, the question is it enough to offset if Troy Balderson holds his lead here? What's the map? The question is, what's the turnout as we see the remaining precincts come in? And that's the point we don't know, but that tells us how close we are, because this has slipped from 65 plus now to just below 65. Right. Watch the percentages and do the math. I think the interesting thing we're going to see tonight, remember, this is an August special election. Turnout is down. One of the questions, are enough people coming out for Danny O'Connor down here? And did enough people, since we're at 100%, come out up here? The percentage up here is great. Is the math enough? Right. The math is a 3,000 vote difference here enough to offset what's happening down here. That's what we're going to go through to get these final numbers, but we need the final numbers.
So as a question of perspective, Obama won this state, Romney won the district, Hillary Clinton, how did she do in this county? Just in terms of getting us perspective of how Democrats have done here in the past, we've been telling the audience all night, this congressional district has been GOP ruby red for all but like 2 years in the last 4 decades. Come on over here. Just in terms of, give us some perspective of how Democrats have done in this county, in this district.
Come on over here. Let's look at the 2012 presidential race. You talked about it. The Columbus area. This is Franklin County. This is Ohio County. The part of the district is up here. The Democrats win this county. That's 2012. But Mitt Romney carried the district in 2012. Let's go to 2016. We could look at this by congressional district here. This is the 12th district. President Trump carried the district, but this is, you see the peaks down here. Hillary Clinton, if you look at the statewide map of the president, let me try to get you to that. President there, Hillary Clinton carried Franklin County. If you just pop up Franklin County. Again, you can see this anywhere in America. Cities are blue, you start to move away, you get more red, especially through the suburbs. But that has been during the Trump presidency. The close-in suburbs in here have turned against this presidency. That's why Alabama has a Democratic senator. That's why Democrats did so well in Virginia. I could go on and on, including Pennsylvania 18 and Colorado. So this district is ruby red Republican. The fact that it is so close is a big deal. If you look ahead to November, let me switch again for you. Here's what you're looking at. We have 95 House races that we do the most competitive going forward. 82 of them are held by Republicans. Republicans are on defense. If they're worried about this district, ruby red here, guess what? No matter what happens in the next couple hours, every one of these other Republicans goes to bed tonight.
John King, thank you very much. Let's put the returns up there. We've had another flip. Look at this now. Troy Balderson, 1,031 votes ahead. Danny O'Connor was ahead by 155 votes. Now this flip, as John King just told you, you got 89% and 11% of the precincts still have to report. This could go either way. What's the big takeaway? We have that from you for you. Sometimes it's another shift in the numbers. There you see Balderson now with a 1,031 vote lead over Democrat Danny O'Connor. CNN's Chris Salizza has been with me all night tonight. Now, you've heard me be saying, hey, look, this is about wins and losses. Close doesn't get it done. But there is another take about why it matters how so.
Okay, we live in a world of wins and losses, particularly in elections. Yes. So winning is always better than losing. That said, what you are looking at with those numbers, it's not going to change that much, whoever wins. It's effectively a tie. Right? I mean, you're talking about 1,000 votes between out of 170,000.
Except the Republicans keep the seat.
They do. They absolutely do. But here's the note I would tell you. Mitt Romney wins this district that we were talking about by 12 points. Donald Trump wins this district that we were talking about by 11 points. What does that tell you? If Republicans have to deal with basically a tie, very close to a tie, slight win. If they have to deal with that in every district that Donald Trump won by 11 and Mitt Romney won by 5, that is problematic in the fall. Again, any honest Republican strategy.
You heard, vote your values. Now you can watch your values too. Let's face it, cable TV is anti-American. They support liberal causes, unpatriotic speech, and the undermining of freedom. Isn't it time you started to watch boldly?
We'll tell you, Democrats have no business being told. O'Connor, Balderson, I heard David Irvin and Van talking about candidate quality. The truth is, they're both perfectly fine. Neither is terrible. Rick Saccone in Pennsylvania 18 earlier this year, not a very good candidate. So bad contrast with Connor Lamb, who's quite good for Democrats. These two guys are fine. A state senator and a guy who's in
You bitch-ass motherfucking computer. You fucking bitch.
Okay? So, in some ways, it's just a generic, what party do you like better? Because these are ciphers for Trump and for the right, okay? That's what this is about. The fact that it was this close. If you're a Republican and you say, Troy Balderson is ahead by 1,039 votes, let's say Troy Balderson goes on to win. There's a whistling past the political graveyard element there, because that should not be, that can be a takeaway, that should not be the key takeaway. Let's say if you're an incumbent, a Republican incumbent in a district down from 1 by 8. This should worry you. If you are smart, this should worry you. I don't know if we can tell you
Anti is not enough. Now, I know, to be fair, that O'Connor was going on Medicare, the Medicaid thing, but it's going to be interesting to see what it means in terms of projections, what the party message is on either side. Now, that said, look at the numbers now. I mean, Danny O'Connor back up on top, 201 votes. He was just down by 1,000. That's how tight the margins are. My thanks to Chris Saliza. Let's keep our coverage going. Let's bring in Don Lemon from CNN tonight. Right now, this race has changed 5 times on our watch. Don Lemon is going to see it through.
Yep, it is a very critical moment right now. Thank you very much.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful right hand by the champion. He lands to the leg.
Man, the body work really starting to take its toll here. Obvious redness on that right side.
And there he swung with a haymaker.
Lands a kick. Well, not a good look there, Joe, as he needs a shot to the body. It looks like he's becoming increasingly more vulnerable to that strike. Certainly left the body wide open on that one. Oh, huge block!
He's playing an outstanding leg kick. Another nice kick. Very solid.
Orthodox for much of the fight. He's going southpaw here, Joe.
Again, nice leg kick. Check that one.
Connects with the punch there. Hand speed, man. Well, he gets up again here, but he looks hurt. Well, he's really starting to land a high number of strikes here in the second round. No denying that he has taken the message from his corner and picked up the pace here in round 2. Oh! Visibly limping here. Looked like it did stun him a little bit.
He is hurt here. Back to his feet again. Amazing. He's got a nice snap to that leg kick. Very nice.
Blocked the shot there, Joe.
Fainting with the punch.
Oh, he might be out.
You heard him with that hook. Vicious leg kick lands.
Fucking bitch, get your ass down.
That's it. It's over.
Get your punk ass down.
Late in the round, and he gets the job done by TKO.
Yeah, Joe, a lot of credit to go around here. You've got to credit the winner of the fight for his aggressiveness down the stretch. But as you did, you've also got to credit the referee here. He deemed that the defensive fighter was not intelligently defending himself, and he was in a perilous situation. So what do? You step in and prevent any further damage. Nice job there by the referee.
And here we see thunderous leg kicks that stop this fight. Nasty technique over and over again, slamming home that shin on the thigh of his opponent until he could no longer continue.
So there he is, ladies and gentlemen, the UFC heavyweight champion, and I'm not sure any heavyweight could have held up under that onslaught, a flurry of strikes to set up the TKO and championship victory here tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Dean has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 52 seconds of round number 2. Declaring the winner by TKO, and still the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion of the world,
Good evening to all. I'm Aaron Burnett. Out front tonight, the breaking news. Bob Mueller's star witness Rick Gates, Trump's former deputy campaign chairman, taking the stand in the government's case against Paul Manafort. Now let's be clear. Manafort's protege, this is his right-hand man, his consigliere. Today, he was special counsel, star witness, spilling the beans. The most important question came from prosecutor Greg Andrus, who asked very simply, did you commit crimes with Mr. Manafort? Gates replied, yes. And from there, Gates went into remarkable detail about the alleged crimes and the people involved. And a key road leads back to Moscow. According to Gates, Manafort knowingly failed to report 15 foreign bank accounts, and one of those was tied to a man named Konstantin Kalimnik, a man the prosecutors have said has direct ties to Russian intelligence. During the campaign, he was also the middleman between Manafort himself and Russian billionaire Oleg Deripaska. Deripaska is the Putin insider who reportedly Manafort offered private briefings about Trump to during the campaign. A Putin insider so in the center of this, he's now sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury Department. And then Gates told the jury that Manafort directed him to lie directly and report the money wired from his foreign bank accounts as loans rather than income. So what that does, bottom line, speaking of bottom lines, is cut Manafort's taxable income, which left him with a whole lot of unreported money that he could allegedly use to fund things like, well, that $15,000 ostrich jacket, the close to $10,000 ostrich vest, a $123,000 Mercedes, and millions on landscaping suits and even a karaoke setup.
Determine the baddest man on the planet. The UFC heavyweight title is on the line.
Con man, his former boss, his mentor, cheating him out of, quote, several $100,000 by submitting false expense reports. This is the pair that was so central to President Trump's election. A pair
so here he is, the #1 heavyweight contender, making the walk to the octagon here tonight.
Paul Manafort has done an amazing job. He's here someplace. Where's Paul? Paul Manafort. Good. We made it. Paul Manafort has done a fantastic. And all of Paul's people. Paul brought on the staff, and we really do. We have a great staff. Talented people. Come on up, Rick. So we have a great group of people.
A great group of people? Huge uppercut live in Alexandria, Virginia, where all of this went down today. So when you have Manafort and Gates, one so close, right? Mentor, protege, father figure, Manafort and Gates. How did they interact in court?
Nice leg kick.
Aaron, it was the showdown we've been waiting for. Just after 4:15 this afternoon, Gates strode into the courtroom, walking into the well, and Manafort immediately started staring at him, really locking his eyes down. Gates was sitting just a few feet away from Manafort, just like around this corner, and the entire time he was testifying for the 45 minutes, he really evaded any eye contact with Manafort, looking intently at the prosecutor answering his questions. And they went through pretty immediately off the bat, very quickly, did you commit crimes with Paul Manafort? Gates said that he had. And then he explained that he set up those 15 Cyprus-based bank accounts and other offshore accounts, that he helped lie to his accountant in order for Manafort to reduce the income and file false tax returns. He described each time that he did it, quote, at the direction of Mr. Manafort. Then the surprise, where Gates reveals that he actually defrauded Manafort. He said that he had stolen several $100,000 from Manafort by calling false expense accounts. And this showdown comes as these two men have known each other for over 20 years. Gates said he first met Manafort when he was an intern working for his company at the office Christmas party. And then he worked closely with Manafort for 10 years, saying that he was one of the most brilliant political strategists he had worked with. So now they're on opposite sides of the table here, and the showdown is expected to continue tomorrow. Prosecutors say that they have about 3 hours worth of questioning to Gates, and then it will be the defense's turn when Manafort's lawyers will be able to question him, and we're expecting that to be pretty aggressive.
All right, certainly so. We'll obviously get the pair on that tomorrow, who's going to be in the room. I want to go now to Shan Wu, Rick Gates' former lawyer, and a former federal prosecutor, Kerry Cordero, former counsel to the U.S. Assistant Attorney General for National Security, and John Atlon, our senior political analyst. What a day, Shan. So you were waiting for this, right? You know Rick Gates, you know him personally, you know him well, you know, I suppose, that he has a problem with the truth at times, as he admitted today. Did anything he said today surprise you, Shan?
I thought that the admission of the stealing, and I'm commenting on public record, obviously, but that was a huge reveal, and that was really, I think, quite a bombshell. I mean, it gives the defense a lot of ammunition. It allowed them to deliver on their promise that they made in their opening statement. But that was the most stunning part of his testimony to me.
you know, John Gates testified that he helped Manafort file false tax returns, okay? Now, obviously, we're going to talk in a moment about things he admits to lying about and cheating, but it doesn't get more clear than that. So is Manafort's bet at this point go for pardon from the president, or is it what? Have people think Gates is a worse liar? I mean, what's the strategy?
I mean, the pardon play is a lot of moves out here. So I think the strategy seems to be to run down Gates, to say, you know, I was just a patsy. I wasn't that hands-on, which was contradicted by his own bookkeeper. And I was the victim of Gates's nefarious activity. The problem here is, I mean, first of all, everybody's dirty. This is only the best people, Aaron. You know, everyone here, only the best people.
Yeah.
But it also really does show the way that the international political consultant class really has become a grift. And these folks, really, they talk about populism, they use it as a political strategy, but they are making more money than most working folks will ever see in their life in a year and still go broke. That's how corrupt and incompetent they are.
After $60 million from Ukraine alone, right? Allegedly, Paul Manafort, it says he's bankrupt in 2016. Now, Kerry, you know, the thing is, as Shannon was saying, Gates admitted to a lot of lying, right? That several $100,000 he admitted to cheating Manafort out of, that was an incredible admission. Obviously, they knew that was going to come out, so they wanted to put it out themselves. Look, he lied to his own accountant, and he admitted to lying to his own accountant. He's an admitted liar. So does this help Manafort's argument that Gates was the mastermind, even though, of course, Manafort's landscaper and ostrich coat provider and Mercedes-Benz dealer all said that he did it all himself?
Well, you know, it's going to come down to not just what Gates says, but all the other evidence that's been admitted in the trial, whether that's through other witnesses, the other accountant who testified last week, the documents, the digital evidence, all the other types of evidence that's been assembled and the prosecutors have put on. Gates' testimony is in addition to that, but from my perspective, he is incentivized to tell the truth in this trial, and that's because he really is testifying for his life. His cooperation agreement and his truthful cooperation will affect how he is sentenced, whether he's sentenced to several years in jail or whether he gets much more leniency than that, and the prosecutors will have an opportunity to weigh in on that. So I think from his perspective and his family and his outlook on his life, he is incentivized to tell the truth. We have kids at home. I mean, all these things do play into someone's decisions here. I mean, Shan, Gates and Manafort, as Kara was saying, right, we're talking about a 20-year relationship. And Manafort, she said, you know, looked straight at Gates today. Took him out, stared him down. Wouldn't look him in the eye. Looked at the prosecutor instead.
Under 2 minutes to go in a back-and-forth first round.
Not uncommon with a cooperator. I mean, that's goes against human nature to have to go against someone who's been your mentor, someone close to you, and it's a big strain on folks like that psychologically. And Kerry's completely right. He's really up there fighting for his life. He wants to be able to go faster and having life with his kids, but for the defense, that's also a good fodder. I mean, he can be incentivized to tell the truth, or they can say he's incentivized to lie and say anything the prosecution wants him to say.
Right, anything. Tries a big hook to the head, but misses. One of the people Gates says is listed on Manafort's foreign bank accounts, I mentioned this, is the same person Manafort
good combination so far from both
get
men.
Oleg Deripaska. Oleg Deripaska is a Putin insider, a billionaire. Manafort offers him private meetings around the convention of the campaign.
Looks like his leg is hurt here. You can even see him limping a little bit.
Believed to be a Russian agent, informant, close ties to Russian intelligence, perhaps the best way to say it. And that's who he's talking to. That guy is now
left-hand is there for Silva.
Some of these accounts.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the end of round one. And there's the Horde. Confidence has to be high after that round. Really good
round there for Silva. This is actually, I would argue, the biggest news so far out of the trial, because it does establish that Trump's campaign manager is taking money from the Kremlin. Look, it's bad enough when you live in Virginia and you've got a Cyprus bank account that you're funneling money through. But this is a direct connection to the Kremlin and to the spy services, and that raises a lot of questions that are very relevant about the decisions that were made, the ties that were established, and the unusual amount of contact between the Russians and the Trump campaign. Was Manafort the sole conduit, primary conduit? Who knows? But there is a money trail here, and that is intelligent.
And Kerry, that was a crucial thing that was established today, or at least that they tried to establish, right? That you have one of these guys with ties to Russian intelligence, with an insider who Manafort was making promises to offer to, is now on one of these bank accounts. Right, well, so they've established a bank account. The bigger picture is that the president's campaign manager is someone who had also worked for a Russian-backed candidate in Ukraine for many years. I mean, so this Russia connection pervades the Manafort relationship and so many other members. There were so many different contacts between members of the campaign and Russia. So one does wonder whether this particular piece is something that is relevant to the broader special counsel investigation, looking at deeper Russian influence in the campaign and potential other coordination or communication with the campaign generally.
All right, obviously that, of course, is the heart of this trial, which is the first big test for Bob Mueller.
At this point, he's worked the head to great effect, but get some strikes to the midsection. Try to slow your opponent down.
Now, perhaps it should be obvious that most people being investigated for something don't tweet about that something. It's like fight clubs with Twitter and Russia. CNN has learned that seemingly obvious justified by the defense. Nice job getting that guard up to not tweet about the 26-hour meeting. That was the meeting attended by the president's campaign chairman, who's now on trial by his son-in-law and by Donald Trump Jr., who decidedly agreed to meet with a Russian attorney who went to the Kremlin, who was promising Russian intelligence on Hillary Clinton. This is the meeting that was first concealed, and then, once it came to light, was quickly surrounded by a stonewall of misleading statements.
Well, he has really picked up the pace here in round 2, much more aggressive than we saw in round 1, and now starting to find himself in the pocket.
The tweet went up yesterday. The president writing, and I quote, fake news reporting a complete fabrication that I'm concerned about the meeting and what the Donald had in some power. This was a meeting to get information on an opponent, totally legal and done all the time.
Under a minute to go.
And it went nowhere. I did not know about it. Now,
that one hurt.
Any further, good combination. Just say this last bit that he did not know about the meeting is now in question.
The defense is holding up. Very nice leg kick for him there. Can't take too many of those. 30 seconds to go in round 2.
Everyone does it. That's just what I call. And we'll talk more about all these things further.
Back to the feet again. Amazing.
On the larger item. This is the first time
changes his stance. You'll see a lot of this from this fighter.
Unequivocally said.
Oh, he switches his stance again.
That's
and the horn sounds on round 2.
Get information on an opponent. Period.
And here a big shot lands and a knockdown.
Before the meeting even broke, Donald Trump Jr. was lying about meeting any Russians in any campaign capacity. Here's what he told the New York Times way back in March.
Third round of this championship fight.
I did not meet.
This is going to become one of those things where you're just wondering what's the opponent going to be able to do. Not even whether or not he's going to win, but what's his opponent going to be able to do now?
So that was a lot. Actually, it was 3 lies.
Much improved defensively as he blocks the shot.
In advance and none even remember. 3 lies which began falling apart several months after they came out of his mouth. On July 8, 2017,
well, he continues to land a high number of strikes here, just like he did in the previous round. This is a world-class display of striking him tonight.
Legally crafted by Don Jr. and his lawyers. At least that's what the president's lawyers.
All right, back to his feet. But man, is he hurt. Look at him, Joe. Well, the offense has been there. He's landing some good shots, but not really stringing them together and putting combinations on his opponent. He's got to mix up his strikes, change his tempo a little bit, and try to get his opponent out of there by landing more than just one strike at a time.
So on the 8th, we really had that statement. Again, allegedly written by
Blocks the shot.
his lawyers.
Nice inside leg kick.
Primarily about adoption policy.
Silva gets up yet again here, Joe. That's the good news, but he does not look well.
An adoption policy for the Russian government is not about adoption.
Uppercut lands, and he leaned right into that one. Joe left the head wide open there for the taking. Let's see if now that wakes him up a little bit and he learns to get those hands up.
Nice leg kick. Was about the campaign, specifically about getting someone dirt on.
Well, back to his feet here, Joe, but look at him. He is hurting for certain. That man is in a world of trouble.
Nice leg kick. Very nice.
Well, these leg kicks are starting to do damage, Joe. Oh, he is off, but man, is he hurt. A finish could come here at any time. Well, you've got to admire the urgency here. He is trying to keep the judges out of it, lighten up his opponent left and right.
Just a few months earlier, presumably with the memories that much
Bitch, run around as much as you want to, motherfucker.
couple days later, July 11th.
He threw that powerful leg kick all night long, and finally his opponent could take no more. TKO victory via leg kicks.
Yeah, Joe, you're right. It was that one big strike that started it all to drop his opponent and then ultimately create a further opening to jump in and force the referee stoppage. So a flurry at the end of this fight and a big TKO victory for that young man here tonight.
And let's look at that from another angle.
Told the Russian government was supporting his father's campaign and had dirt on Hillary Clinton. That's pretty big news.
And there he is, the baddest man on the planet, all smiles tonight. UFC heavyweight champion and your winner by TKO here tonight. Here we go inside the octagon for the official decision to Bruce Buffer.
Small campaign, their offices were like, floor above each other. Let dad and son spoke often. Never mind the fact that Trump Sr. promised a speech with info about Hillary Clinton would be coming, and then after the bus, that speech was never given. To continue distancing the president from this meeting after the court broke, the president and his team denied any knowledge.
So there he is, and still the baddest man on the planet, the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion of the world. He successfully retains the title here tonight and does so by TKO. Nice embrace there with the head coach. This is a celebration that is going to continue all night long tonight. Not only did they defend the belt, but they get the style points they sought by virtue of TKO. Congratulations.
Denied the president had done that.
He certainly didn't dictate, but, he, like I said, he weighed in, offered suggestion like any father would do.
That's what Sarah Sanders said when faced with factual reporting. Her answer was a kind of half acknowledgement, which became a fuller but still dishonest acknowledgement in a letter from the president's lawyers to special counsel Mueller. They wrote, quote, "The president dictated a short but accurate response to the New York Times article on behalf of his son." Sarah Sanders had just said they didn't dictate, but that the president didn't dictate. The lawyers, when they actually had to write to the special counsel, said, oh yeah, he did dictate. So publicly on TV, the lawyers were saying, oh yeah, the president didn't dictate the statement. Privately, in the letter, the lawyers admit, yeah, he dictated, but it was short and it was accurate. But it turns out that wasn't the whole truth. Yes, the president dictated it. Yes, it was short. No, it was not accurate. The statement mentioned adoption, not attempted collusion. That's right, collusion, which is, the president and his defenders once denied until that story also shifted. Last week, it became, yeah, if we did it, so what?
Which I might even know if that's a crime, colluding about Russians.
Okay.
You start analyzing the crime.
Coming up next, a matchup to determine the baddest man on the planet. The UFC heavyweight title is on the line.
So now, soliciting government intelligence from a hostile foreign power to get elected president isn't a crime, which, keeping them honest, is
all right, here we go. UFC heavyweight title on the line.
Of it as a hypothetical that's really interesting, because the president actually flirted with admitting this meeting was about getting dirt on Hillary Clinton when the story first broke last year.
Nice job defensively there to get the guard up. Shot is blocked by Cormier.
This after the president had dictated the airport meeting about adoption.
Immediately shoots for the leg.
I do think
that was a quick takedown.
And now is where things could get really.
Cormier, I'm not fucking scared of you, bro. That's real talk. Don't give a fuck. I ain't scared of your fucking punk ass.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful right hand by the champion. Big body punch.
What's interesting is that statement that he just played here.
Oh, he gets reversed.
Cormier, I'm not fucking scared of you, man.
What the president just tweeted yesterday, which we told you at the beginning of it. Again,
excellent movement on the ground here. Always trying to better his
get
position.
information on an opponent, totally legal, done all the politics, and it was
full guard again.
So when the president dictated or crafted the statement,
just over 3 minutes to go on
about adoption and not mentioning Kremlin intelligence, he was lying. When his press secretary denied he did anything more than offer fatherly advice on that false statement, he was lying. Or hopefully she had been lied to.
And he gets reversed.
She didn't know she was lying, but she'd been lied to.
All right, so he just decides to get up here, Joe.
And when the president's attorney publicly said that the president didn't write that statement,
very nice leg kick for him there.
Too many
of those.
Well, DC's like glue. I mean, he just sticks onto you. Excellent movement and transitions here on the ground. Staying busy.
I've talked about that before. That happens when you have cases like this.
He moves the full guard here.
Your network and others, they within me retained on this and have a lot of information to process. I got that one wrong.
gets caught with that punch. He's treading water now. Got to find a way to move those feet.
That information which must have come from the president, who lied to his lawyer, or from someone else around the president who lied or had been lied to by the president. Have you ever heard the old expression, scratch a lie, find a thief? I don't know if it's true, but in this case, you scratch one lie, you should start to find a whole...
Beautiful elbow. That was a hard elbow there by the champion.
Has to say about this now. He went on
Inside control once again.
Played for him clips of him and others telling the meeting about a doctor.
45 seconds to go here in round one.
Do you want any comments on that, Donnie? Because they're hitting you on that for contradictions.
He's looking to take the back.
Contradictions, obviously. Hello? Yeah, Donnie, what is your reaction to all that?
20 seconds left.
We're going to see if we can reconnect with Donald Trump Jr. on this because I can't seem to hear him. Donnie, you hear that?
Full guard here.
5 minutes in the books.
We don't know where he went.
He called
There's
back.
a nice leg kick. And here's another beautiful leg kick. You can really see how awesome that round was by these highlights.
Somehow you got cut off. They started playing the recording and then it got cut off. It was a 20-minute meeting. It ended up being,
here doing her thing as
essentially
usual.
nothing that was relevant to any of these things. And, that's all it is.
CNN Dana Bash has been reporting on the president being advised not to tweet about this. So, Dana, what have you learned that people around the president are saying to him about these?
Second round underway.
To stop doing it when it comes
This is
to
going to become one of those things where you're just wondering what's the opponent going to be able to do to him. Not even whether or not he's going to win, but what's his opponent going to be able to do to him.
More oxygen than it would get if the president just left it alone. And when I say this story, I'm talking about just the notion of
powerful right leg kick.
The whole question of what happened inside.
Double leg.
The fact is, the president's
show you the total strikes.
to tweet out really a way to combat stories by CNN and by the
Cormier
Washington
gets
Post
in the
about
clinch
him being
yet
concerned
again.
about his son, vis-a-vis the Trump
Tight
Tower
clinch now,
meeting.
Joe. A lot of damage
In
can be
that
done
tweet,
here.
he talked about the idea that
He's straight
this is
coming.
actually all based
tagged him.
on
He's got him hurt here.
and
The
so
champ
he
is in deep
exposes
danger
himself
right now.
on
He is
something that
desperately
very
trying to
real
hang on.
that Robert Mueller and his team are looking into. Now, having said that,
Takedown.
the president's team certainly is okay with the president's tweets on, let's say, calling
He's gonna
the
try to take the
investigation
back.
witch hunt, calling it everything
Goes upstairs
under the
for an
sun
elbow.
having to do with
He's got a
trying
half
to
guard here.
chip away at the credibility of the Mueller investigation. Because they think
Slides
that
him
that's
over.
good
Nice
for them
reversal
when it
here.
comes to the
There's a
public
left
opinion
hand.
that they might face.
Back
right
into
now,
side
it's a
control
critical
here.
time. I'm told he's being urged. You're not making it better for yourself by tweeting about it.
And he winds up on top. Into side control again.
And as we
Trying to
heard
take the
Michael
back
Cohen's
here.
reporting, contradicts what the Trump
Just over
campaign
2
said
minutes
they
now to go
knew
in round
about
two.
model Karen McDougal at the time. It is one of a number of false statements that over
Back
time
to
have
side
come
control.
Trump or
Joe
members
doing a
of
nice
the
job
team.
here staying
It
busy.
is how we do not report on all of them.
Excellent
But
movement
let me
here on
take
the
a moment
ground.
to step back and look broadly at President Trump's record.
He's doing a great job of moving and transitioning here on the ground. Side control again.
And we are seeing the
In half guard.
result.
When weighing what's true and what isn't,
And he reverses position.
favorite targets is the
Good
media.
punch.
The many news organizations
Move
he
back
attacks.
into side
As
control
was the
once
case
more.
last night, he spoke to the
Big
veterans
punch
of
from the
the
top.
armed forces in Kansas City. Stirred up
Excellent
the
movement
crowd.
on the ground here. Constantly moving, constantly staying busy.
These people, the fake news.
He's now pushing inside control again.
Is not what's happened.
And busy
But in
as he
just
looks
the
to
last
improve
2 weeks
position here.
alone, the president has made a number of misleading
Nicely
or
done
inaccurate
reversal.
statements. Subjects ranging from Russian
Final
interference
seconds
in
here
U.S.
of round number
politics
2.
to farmers and trade to how much members
Covering
of
up, doing an
countries
excellent
spend
job of
on
stopping the
defense.
ground and pound.
Mr. Trump's statements on Russia have gotten the
And
most
here's a
attention,
nice shot, lands
particularly
perfectly.
after his news conference with President Putin in Helsinki. He seemed to agree with Putin instead of U.S. intelligence.
I will tell
Here we
you,
go, third
President
round
Putin
of this
is extremely
championship
strong
fight.
and powerful.
Now, starting off this round, you've got to think that the barrage that he endured in that last round is still affecting him. He's going to want to start this round off and move and avoid taking any damage.
Pretended that it wasn't so bad. And our indulgence got us.
Well, we wondered earlier why there weren't as many body strikes. He's making up for lost time here. Shot to the body connects, and that bears watching. That's going to hurt this opponent.
Right hand forward now, switching to southpaw.
See the total strike. Cormier's bruise on that thigh is nasty. It's going to be hard getting out of bed in the morning. Let's see how he chooses to proceed here. Over underhooks here.
Trying to get a single. Excellent movement on the ground here. Always trying to better his position.
Intelligence reports shared with Mr. Trump.
He's doing a great job of moving and transitioning here on the ground.
Ordered an influence campaign in 2016.
He's going to try to take the back, I think.
U.S. agencies have not suggested any other country intended to disrupt the election.
Stopped.
Earlier this month, in a tweet about the impact of foreign tariffs on farmers, the president wrote that farmers have been on a downward trend for 15 years.
Starting to do some really significant damage to the body here. Another strike lands there.
But that statement is not accurate.
Oh, very nice leg kick there. High-level stuff.
Few years, but that's not been the case for 15 years.
How about that shin?
Good takedown defense. Very nicely done.
In 2013. Many experts say the problem has not been trade deals, but commodity prices.
Lands a big shot from the bottom. Excellent movement and transitions here on the ground. Staying busy.
It found the president has made more than
back to side control. Oh, elbow to the head. There's another elbow. He's landing some wicked elbows.
It also analyzed a speech Mr. Trump gave in Montana earlier this month and found 76% of the claims the president made in the speech alone were false.
Excellent movement here on the ground.
Supported by evidence. The latest NewsHour, NPR, merits
moved back into side control.
Think the president generally tells the truth. 58% said only some of the
excellent movement on the ground here. Constantly moving, constantly staying busy. Oh, the elbow there.
Republicans believe the president
is landing some brutal elbows.
The poll also asked whether President Trump tells the truth more often or less than prior U.S. presidents.
He's got one leg in between them, so he's in half guard here. Excellent movement on the ground here, always trying to better his position.
To look at President Trump in the matter of truth, we turn to Peter Wayne.
Now he's in side control.
That's 3 rounds in the can. We're headed to the championship round.
Republican administration.
All right, there's
amazing highlights from that round.
Laura Brown is director of the Graduate School of Political Management.
Fourth round, fight scheduled for 5-minute rounds.
Several books on presidents.
All right, so with that, we have arrived at the 4th round. The championship rounds are here, and now is when we really see championship battle, right, Joe, to see what these fighters are made of. 15 hard minutes in the books. We'll see who's the fresher fighter here to begin this 4th of a possible 5 rounds.
58% of those polls say they think the president tells the truth all the time or hardly ever.
Oh, buckled him there. Beautiful shot to the body. We show you the total strikes.
Into there, you get the 61%.
Ooh, looking to go to the leg kick here, just out of range. Visibly limping here.
Oh my goodness!
You know, and when you look particularly in the suburbs, where there's going to be all
goes in and secures the takedown.
You know, 3/4 of people who live in the suburbs.
Oh, reversal. He's doing a great job of moving and transitioning here on the ground.
Really,
he's looking to take the back.
Or his ability to tell the truth.
You got tagged there.
The fact that we're even having this conversation tells us that
nice shot to the head.
As you said, you worked in Bush White House at 41, 43. You worked for President Reagan.
Showing good defense, covering up, stopping that ground and pound. Excellent movement and transitions here on the ground, staying busy.
Personal matters, political matters, domestic, international.
He's now working from side control again.
Just over 2 minutes to go.
Lies pathologically and lies needlessly often. That's one. The other thing.
He's going to try to take the back.
People in this country who believe in lies, who have accepted them. This has tremendous damaging effects.
Right back into full guard. Now he's in half guard.
You can't run if you can't have a common sense fact. If you can't agree on commonalities. What you've got is an who is engaged in not just
inside control once again. Boom! It's over.
Yes, it's incredible. It's true. It's not just...
I'm not scared of you, Cormier. I used to be scared of you. I ain't scared of you no more, Daniel.
As he gets his opponent out of there and finishes the fight, he was not stalling whatsoever. Big shots from top position. It's one thing when you're trying to score. It's another thing when you're actually trying to end the fight. He was trying to finish the fight and certainly succeeded. Outstanding. Now we go inside the octagon. Bruce Buffer with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Dean is going to stop the
Laura Brown, we all know, we talked about this before, politicians exaggerate, presidents exaggerate, they stretch the truth. Sometimes they've been found to be lying. Why is this about right now? What, we just keep Greener saying this is an assault on the truth. How do you see it?
Well, I would actually agree with that. I think one of the things that you see with this president and really across the administration is just a desire to lie on everything. I mean, there is such a volume of lies that it actually becomes difficult to catalog, and it creates confusion among the public. And as a result, many people end up trying to understand what is true, what is not. And that whole conversation about what is truth is precisely what allows his base to continue to support him and to believe his version of reality and not the news media's actual version of reality.
And yet, Domenico, you watch these polls over time, going back to the
God, it's hot in here.
Among the people who support President Trump, they have been willing to pretty much embrace everything he's done and said.
Absolutely, and when Laura talks about being able to categorize untruths or mischaracterizations, the Washington Post has tried to do that and has found some 3,200 misleading statements or false claims by the president. That isn't something, as you note, that's really had any effect on his base, obviously. In this poll, the NPR NewsHour and PBS NewsHour Marist poll, 85% of Republicans still support this president. Now, when it comes to independents, which is a really key group, they sort of turned on this president a year ago, and two-thirds.
It is a women's bantamweight matchup between Ronda Rousey and Valentina Shevchenko.
And they don't believe him,
And here is tonight's tale of the tape. 2 years apart, these two fighters, and they both possess a similar height and reach.
Also saying that they're embarrassed by the president's conduct. Now, there are a couple caveats I want to put in here.
Here we go.
2016 exit polls.
Don't see this a lot, but she's going southpaw now, Joe.
Said that President Trump didn't have the temperament to be president. They said that
Joe.
And that they would be concerned or scared.
She's in half guard now.
And yet, he won.
And good work here with the body by Shevchenko.
Wayner, as we look back over the year and a half of the president,
excellent movement and transitions here on the ground, staying busy. Looking for a triangle, throws one leg over the shoulder.
By evidence that you think in particular stand out?
Yeah.
Excellent posture.
To Charlottesville, very important. Both sides. I think the attack and the whole investigation is extremely important because this is
Shevchenko going to work here from the full guard. Nice combination of strikes, mixing it up pretty well here. Solid strike on the ground.
I'll tell you one that might strike people as trivial, but I think it about is extremely important. That was the original law at the dawn of the presidency.
Looking for a triangle, throws one leg over the shoulder. She's tightening it up very nicely. She wants to get an angle. Oh, lost it.
In one sense, you would say
2 minutes have expired in our opening round.
The reason it
and now she's got full mouth.
Right out of the box.
Postures up.
So why? That is an assault on empirical factual facts. So this is a pictures that show.
She moves to half guard.
And that was to tell this poker. That said that this guy was something different. He was going to go after truth in a way that was going to sustain.
Well, this is a tough fighter to buck off. Very good pressure and work here by
kind of put some of this into historical context.
Postures up here.
Other presidents who have lied, because most presidents have.
Postures up here and now going to the body with that big strike. Nicely done by Shevchenko. Rousey gets pounded and it's the elbow.
Ones that were morally problematic.
Well, as usual, suffocating work from the top here by Shevchenko.
Excellent movement on the ground here. Constantly moving, constantly staying busy.
I mean, what we had when we look back at
well
FDR,
played for her there, Joe, as she escapes back up to her feet.
You fucking dumbass. Really? You fucking pussy?
How about that shit?
But again, most of these things were limited by topic or limited in damage.
So under 30 seconds to go, it was pretty entertaining and an active first round.
People talk about a democracy is built on the foundation of accepted truth.
Oh, straight right. 5 minutes in the books. Oh, and how about the body shot, and it comes just before the hold. 10 more seconds.
Not coercion. And you can't persuade people if you can't agree on facts. You can't even agree
Round 2 is underway.
Beyond that,
that last round was an all-out.
Is shaking after that slam, Joe. Trying to stay heavy here as best she can.
I would say a couple of things.
Rousey gets up and is back on her feet. Very nice.
Public can do something about this. You can do it.
Oh, massive slam. That'll change the complexion of this one.
Media, they can it's not.
Excellent movement here on the ground.
They can go
both
again.
fighters back to their feet now. We show you the total strike.
You can't submit me, Magnum, you fucking piece of shit. You can't submit me, bitch. Nice try, fag boy. You can knock me out, but you can't submit me, you fucking punk.
Excellent movement and transitions here on the ground. Staying busy.
Rousey gets back up again.
That one hurt.
She blocked the punch. Well, she got cracked to the head there, Joe. She continues to be vulnerable to that strike by leaning in, almost moving into the strike at this point in time. She's got to get her head off of that center line.
Individualized matter. One person does something.
And once again, she's able to avoid the clinch.
Oh, big shot.
Good combination there. Oh!
Ronda's in trouble. This is crazy! Oh my goodness!
Well, she was a little bit hesitant in round 1, but she has certainly picked up the pace here in this second round. It took her a while to find her range. She's in a strong striking range. I love the slam there. That one cannot feel good.
Excellent movement on the ground here. When I'm in balance and I have both the personal and the professional parts of my life firing, I feel like a complete human. I will always make time for my friends.
Posture's up now and she lands a huge elbow.
I'm just glad he clarified it. I can't read his intentions or what he meant to say at the time. Suffice it to say that for me, as a policymaker, what really matters is what we do moving forward.
Wow, what the fuck was that?
And obviously what Mueller's doing.
Rousey gets caught with that punch. Got to show
I'm
up.
glad he clarified his comments today. I didn't see it live, but I understand he clarified his comments. And, of course, I wish he said it in front of President Putin and the world yesterday.
You were waiting for me to transition, Magnum, you fucking garbage fucking piece of shit.
is sad
so there's the horn. Confidence has to be high after that round. Great round from Shevchenko.
Huge knockdown. It was probably the most important aspect of that round, and most likely won the round.
I want to start by reading, George, an excerpt from your piece, if I could. George writes, quote, America's child president had
Let's look at that from another camera angle.
Who surely enjoyed providing daycare. It was a useful because illuminating event.
And let's go to a different angle.
Republicans retain a capacity for embarrassment. Precision is not part of Trump's repertoire. He speaks English as though it is a second language that
Thank
he
you
learned
very much,
from someone
Carly
who learned
Baker.
English last week. So it is usually difficult to sift meanings from Trump's word salads. But in Helsinki, he was, for him, crystal clear about feeling no allegiance to the intelligence institutions that work in his direction and under leaders he chose. Trump has a weak man for all fascination with strongmen whose disdain for him is evidently unimaginable. And yet, he only perfunctorily pretends to have
The striker takes the grappler down yet again. Her ground skills certainly inferior by comparison, but she likes to mix up the martial arts. And she found an opening for the shot, so she took it. Now let's see what she can do with yet another takedown here. I'll admit to being a little bit surprised at the strategy, though.
And now she's stacking
I
her.
believe you wrote that piece before the president clarified, or he believes he clarified yesterday. What did you
Inside
make
control here.
of the initial event with President Putin on that stage where he refused to defend the United States of America, but his attempted clarification...
Oh, that was weak as fuck.
Oh, nice single. Look at that.
This morning they're saying, you see, I told you the truth is overrated because I told you the truth.
Connects there with the punch.
And he had spent yesterday taking back...
Continuing to stay busy here on the ground. Rousey gets caught with that punch.
Nice punch to the body.
Just over 3 minutes to go in round 3.
She establishes full mount. Hip escape, nice hip escape. Oh, good right hand.
A series of punches from the top here by Shevchenko. Lands a punch. Looked like elbow there from the top by Shevchenko.
Excellent movement here on the ground.
Submission attempt for her now.
Behavior. Well, the running line now among Republicans seems to be that the
She escaped the submission.
ego is so fragile that he is so insecure about his election victory that there's no way for him to separate that from the Russian.
Well, she may need to drop the elbow, Joe. Look at the bruise on the side of her body. Of course, you drop the elbows, open yourself up to damage upstairs. Gotta pick your poison, though. Not a good spot for her here.
Some kind of ill behavior here on behalf of the president's team.
Back up again. Far beyond the election results.
Well, she's got some of the best takedowns in this division, and that has certainly been a big weapon for her tonight. Look for her to set up another takedown here.
Understand him, that's understand.
Good maneuvers here to avoid clinching.
Every situation he's in.
How about that shin?
Vocabulary of the man.
Oh, big left hand. Big straight punch. This could be it right here. She's brought it down.
She's gonna knock me out in 19 seconds. Watch. How in the fuck do you go back like that, man? That's weak as fuck, bro. You go all the way back like that and throw an overhead right halfway across the fucking ring? Get the fuck out of here. Thank God that shit is over with.
When the president says, I want to meet with Putin one-on-one with no American there, what do we know? We know that the Russians are going to know what he said there, so he's keeping a secret from whom? From Americans. It's reasonable to speculate why that is so.
Hey, James, this is Noah Rothman commentary, and George might have some thoughts on this as well. The fear, it seems, among Trump-skeptical conservatives and Democrats is that the Republican Party has been transformed into this version of Donald Trump, which is rather distasteful at times, as we've seen it. But it strikes me, it seems to me at least, as though The secret of Donald Trump's presidency is that when he's doing well, he's doing things that are conventionally conservative. When he's nominating Bush-era judges, when he's containing Russian revanches and signing conventional tax cut legislation, etc. When he gets Trumpy, the bottom falls out, and Republicans are able to compel the president to perform some act of contrition. Does that suggest to you, as it suggests to me, that a snapback to a sort of pre-Trump era is possible in the post-Trump era?
So you mean when Donald Trump is no longer among us as a office holder?
Correct.
I guess it requires several leaps of foresight for exactly what will happen during these midterm elections. Compared with the Watergate era, when of course George Will was making his pioneering reputation, and I was starting as a magazine writer, it strikes me the Republican Party has locked itself in much more firmly and uncritically with its troubled incumbent than they did. It took a long time for the 1970s Republicans to turn on Richard Nixon, but they eventually did. The Republicans now are missing so many opportunities to be other than just sort of ludicrously weak, as Senator Rubio was just then, or inexplicably weak as was Senator Corker, who is not going to be in this Senate seat next
All right, whoever's watching the stream, man, I've been streaming for an hour and a half. I couldn't sleep, so I'm going to go back to sleep now. So I'll be streaming in the morning, though. Probably about a couple of hours I'll be streaming, guys.
After whatever is the next presidential election.